Hello and welcome to this session everyone. My name is Yogesh. In this session we are going to talk about how to create custom AMI in Amazon Cloud. First of all, we need to know what is Amazon Machine Image. An Amazon Machine Image or AMI provides the information required to launch an instance in the cloud. AMI contains root volume of the instance, basically that snapshot with the operating system installed, or it may got application or DB installed and configured, or it may got some custom configuration which is required for your setup. And AMI also got a set of permissions, like what are the permissions on your snapshot image, who can use it, who is the owner, or what is type of AMI, whether that's a para virtualized or HVM, what type of operating system it got, basically description kind of thing. So that's Amazon Machine Image. Next thing comes into mind, when to create custom AMI. In Amazon, what happens by default, I can't use word by default. Basically, the vendors like Microsoft, Red Hat, Ubuntu, they publish their own AMIs. Basically, those are public AMIs. As a build engineer, I can use AMI provided by Red Hat, for example. But later on, I have to customize that AMI to meet my setup, or I can say enterprise requirements and recommendations. For that, what I have to do, I have to use AMI provided by Red Hat. On that, I can do the hardening as per my setup recommendations. Plus, I can install a couple of packages or application softwares, which basically will help me to save the build time. If I have to give you an example, let's consider on daily basis you are doing a build of 20 servers. If your setup is like connected or configured with Ansible, Puppet, or Chef kind of tool, you can use those tools to install the database, install the application, then do the configuration part. But let's say using Ansible, you are installing Oracle database. For that, you need to download or copy set of packages and sizes, let's suppose 1 GB or 2 GB. That download process or that copy process, even that is using some automation, that is going to take time. Plus the installation, that is going to take time. Configuration, maybe your automation tool can do in minutes, but again, that's time consuming. In case you are using custom AMI, in that AMI, you can pre-install or you can bake your database or application, which is time consuming. For the little things which are not time consuming, you can do using your automation tool. But in your custom AMI, you can get a big piece of software, like which is time consuming. I hope it clears when to use custom AMI. Other scenario I can tell, like in your setup, you got some security packages installed, some security configuration done. And let's suppose in your setup, you are doing a build of 100 instances on daily basis. Even with automation tool, that is going to take some time. If you go to pre-baked AMI, because you are sure, okay, this is a minimal security baseline which I have to apply on every instance, that you can build in your custom AMI, which will save the time. That's the reason we use custom AMIs. When creating the AMI, it's recommended to keep the instance in powered off state to ensure storage is imaged as a hard point in time snapshot. Basically what happens, let's suppose you have started to create AMI and your instance is still running. There might be data or information which is in cache that is not flushed to the actual disk drive. If you're using some intelligent file system like XFS, you can do XFS freeze, which will stop all the IO on the drive. That's a one way. But personally, this image creation, that is not like very regular activity. You will be creating images, let's say, on weekly basis or monthly basis, or whenever you are making big changes in your setup. So it's better to shut down your base instance from which you are going to create that AMI. So that's a recommendation. AMI creation process automatically stop the instance during the AMI creation unless you manually choose to keep the instance with no reboot option. Basically what happens whenever you create AMI, that instance from which you are creating AMI, that will automatically get shut down. That AMI will get created. But there is an option provided by Amazon, like you can select no reboot. What it means, your instance will be running during the AMI creation. That's a one way. But personally, as I mentioned, I'm not using that and I'm not recommending that, but that's the option. That's up to you. To create a custom AMI, launch an instance from AMI that's similar to AMI that you would like to use. For example, let's say you want to use Red Hat 7.3, 7.4 as your base AMI, or Amazon Linux, whatever AMI. Then you can update the instance with all the required configuration. For example, you have to install Apache packages, you have to do Apache configuration, you have to apply some security recommendation, so on. So once that is done, you can create the AMI. I have documented couple of considerations while creating Linux AMI. First of all, you have to verify that operating system boot is good, means it's error-free. The next thing you have to verify that application or databases which you have installed on that AMI, that's working. Basically, its startup is fine and there are no error messages. Another thing which I recommend that you update the system with latest available patches. So in that way, your AMI will be updated for that particular period, because vendors release packages on weekly basis, monthly basis. AMI you have to recreate whenever new set of security packages or patches is released by a vendor. But for the time being, you can update your AMI so that you can get the latest one available that time. Delete the SSH authorized keys. Basically, that's again a recommendation. But in case you want to keep your authorized key, you can skip that step. Delete any temporary data or temporary files. What it means, let's say in /temp on a Linux machine, you got some dummy data or some unnecessary data. You can get rid of that data. Or it may be some application installation binaries, database installation binaries. You can get rid of those because those will be consuming space. Then delete the shell command history, because from that AMI you are going to build new instances. So why to show like what commands you run to configure the database or what else or any history of your shell? No need to share those commands with anyone. So you can delete those shell or command histories. So these are some consideration. You can add other applicable points as per your setup requirements. Next thing, steps to create an AMI or custom AMI. First of all, as I mentioned, we have to create an EC2 instance with all the required configuration, and later we can configure it with all the application or database or security patches. Then if you want to create AMI using AWS CLI, that's very easy. You can run AWS EC2 space create -image, then instance ID. Here put your instance ID, then name, what name you want to give to your AMI, and description. In description you can put some sensible information. Or if you want to use AWS Management Console, that's again easy. Log into your Management Console, then select instance, click on action, then image, then create image. That is going to create an AMI. When you click create image, it will ask same thing, like what is going to be AMI name, what is going to be description, same things. One thing that's in Amazon, when you create an AMI, Amazon will automatically register that AMI once creation process is completed. Sometime we think like how long that AMI creation is going to take. Basically that depends upon size of the volume or volumes. In case volume size is small, then it may take little time. If you got a bigger volume, let's say 100 GB, 200 GB, that is going to be taking more time as compared to 10 GB volume. How you can validate that the AMI which you just built is healthy or working? So the test is to build an instance from that particular AMI which you just created and ensure everything starts up without error and everything looks good to you. So that's validation. So guys, let's create an AMI using Amazon CLI. So you can see on my screen, I'm logging on to one EC2 instance, which I have just created from Red Hat 7.4 base AMI from Red Hat. I'm using my identity file, which named linux.ssh keypad.pam. So I'm on my EC2 instance now. I'm elevating my privileges to become root here. Sorry, let me bring that PuTTY session again. Okay. So in this example, let's say in my custom AMI, I want to get HTTPD installed. So I'm installing that. In this example, like let's say this is only my custom requirement, but in your setup, you can do whatever customization is required. So next thing, as I mentioned, we can get rid of SSH keys. Like I can use sshred -u, then the path to my keys. This is done, and I can delete the authorized keys file. For that, simply find that key file and rm it, and parallelly you can delete the .ssh folder. This history file is not present, that's good. After that, history -w, history -c, so that will clear the history. So guys, the basic configuration is done. So next thing, which I explained in theory session, that please power off your instance before creating an AMI. So I'm just shutting down my instance using init 0. Or if you don't shut down, it will automatically shut down, because here in this example, I'm not going to use option which is no reboot. So by default, AMI creation process will shut down this instance. So I will keep it running, and let's see whether the things which I told, they are working or not. So I'm logging on to my AWS CLI server. This is my machine which is having CLI installed, and this machine I'm using to manage my Amazon infrastructure using command line interface. So let's create an AMI quickly. I'm just grabbing instance ID. So the instance ID. Okay, let's run command AWS EC2 describe instances, and I'm grabbing for I-, sorry, it's instances, my mistake. Okay, so this is the instance ID of my running instance, and here I'm just using command AWS EC2 create -image followed by -- instance ID, then this particular instance ID. This is a base image ID which is provided by this one, which is provided by Red Hat. So I'm going to create my custom image from this particular base image. This instance was created, this one. From this instance, I'm going to create my custom AMI, and here in name I'm going to put, this is some sensible information. This is rel 7.4, and I will put today's date, and in description I'm going to put AMI with HTTPD. So this is description which I want, and press enter. It should create the AMI. You can see on screen that image is created, and this is the new AMI ID, image ID. So guys, this is very easy to create an AMI. You can see with single command you have created an AMI. And as I mentioned, this instance just shut down. You can see connection closed. So it automatically went down during the image creation process. How you can verify whether instance image creation or AMI creation started or not? Basically, there's two ways you can describe image. Here you can use AWS EC2 describe image and dash image ID and this particular AMI ID. Okay, my mistake here. We have to use describe images. You can see on screen it is telling this is HVM AMI, and this is the description which we type. This is with Xena hypervisor. This is the image ID, and this is on GP2 because the base volume which I'm using on my instance, that's GP2 10 GB size. This is the snapshot. As I mentioned, it will create a snapshot. So this is the snapshot ID, and you can see the rest of information. This is the owner of this particular AMI. So guys, in that way, AMI gets created. AMI is created. You can see creation date. AMI is successfully created. Other thing, if you want to create that AMI using Amazon console, how you can create? Let's suppose this is our instance. I will not create because it will be duplicating the things, but I just want to navigate or take you through like what process you have to follow. So this is instance which is in running state now. You have to select your instance and click on action, then image, then create image. When you click create image, you can put image name, description. If you don't want to reboot, say no reboot, tick here and click on create image. It will create image. And how you can see the images in your account, you can click here under images, AMIs. It should display one AMI here now, which we just created. You can see here, this is the AMI ID, AMI name, which we created, AMI ID, this is source, owner, status is available, and platform is Red Hat because operating system was Red Hat. It's EVM and EVS and HVM. As I mentioned, for validation from this AMI, you can create a new EC2 instance to validate everything looks good. So thanks for watching this video, guys. Stay tuned for other videos. Thank you.